What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. It is me, Trash Salsa, and today we're going to be making a versus video. It is around midnight, and I'm at my grandparents'. So, yeah, let's do it. So the lighting is a little weird, but since it's like midnight, I'm not going to have bright lights on because we don't need that. So, I just got some Christmas lights and a night light over there, precisely to backlight the Edison blades. And yeah, the Manning Bauman looks a little oddly shiny. I'll get into that in another video. So yeah, so I really just wanted an excuse to run my new K-223 3rd Gen. Yes, this is not my P-223. This is a K-223 3rd Gen. I know it's confusing, and I promise you, it is a K-223. So, here we are. In versus videos, we compare and contrast the fans with pros and cons, run them on low, and then figure out which fan is better. So let's do that. So I'm going to start off with the Edison. So some pros and cons of the Edison. Some pros are it's got a 2.6 amp motor. Now, this might seem like a con because it's a lot of amperage, but not really. With this amperage, it can take these blades like nothing, which means the motor should last longer because it's basically carrying no weight, yet the airflow is insane out of this fan because the blade pitch is, that motor is meant for those metal blades. So, yeah, it can take those blades like nothing, and those blades can move a ton of air. So that's definitely a pro. Another pro is the design. This fan is not brown. It looks like brown, but it's not. It's actually wood grain. This is the only fan in my collection to be considered not a color, but a wrap. So it is wood grain, not brown. So that's a very cool thing, actually. Sorry about the nightlight flickering. I don't know why it is doing that. It's never done that before. Probably didn't help that I plugged it into an extension cord. That probably explains that. So yeah, that's 2 pros for the Edison so far. Another pro is, along with the design, the blades. I mean, look at those smoky, backlit, beautiful blades. I mean, dang. I mean, how could that not be a pro? So, that's all the pros, I think. Cons. This fan tends to tip over, so it has a special box to hold it up in the back. I don't know if you can see that or not. And another con is, along with tipping over, it's got a strap handle. Now, I have the original strap handle, but these tend to break, so that doesn't make this very reliable. And every time I pick it up, I have to, I'm scared that it's going to break. So those are 2 cons. And it does shake a lot and vibrates and rattles because the blades are not balanced for some reason. So, yeah. I had to sleep with this fan every night for 2 weeks at my other grandparents when I was doing the other fan videos and other projects, like ceiling fan and whatever. And this fan every night was rattling, and I had to put tissues in the grill to make it stop. Then I finally bought these, I didn't buy them, but we found these better screws. We replaced all the bolts in the front grill with screws, and then it might have stopped. And here we are, months later, and we're going to see if it still rattles or not. But yeah, so it's like, what, 3 pros, 3 cons? Yeah. Now, this is the first time I do pros and cons for the K-223 3rd Gen, so it's going to be a little raw and not 100%, but there's a first time for everything, so it doesn't matter if I do it now or never. Some pros of the K-223 3rd Gen is it's smaller. It is not the 22-inch par. It is a 20-inch box fan. They actually stuck true to their words. Because a lot of these other fans say 20-inch, but they're actually 22-inch. But this one's actually a 20-inch box fan. Why does that matter? It doesn't. But it's a little bit smaller, which might sound like who cares, but just a little bit smaller, that can fit in a lot more windows. Think about it. A fan 22-inch by this way and this way is not going to fit in a window like that. But that fan's smaller, just 2 inches smaller is enough, because 2 inches from the top and the side, because 2 inches down from the top and the bottom, that's like 4 inches. So you can kind of fit this fan easily in a window. But, you know, whatever. Another pro is it takes less power because it's 1.7 amp motor and it still blows a ton of air. So it's a little more efficient. I wouldn't say as efficient as a modern fan, but modern fans are trash and you shouldn't buy one because they're garbage. So it doesn't matter about efficiency. If modern fans are unreliable, you shouldn't buy them. But yeah, not going to talk about that because that's not about this video. So that's 2 pros. Trying to think of the pros. It's a little hard because, I mean, it's a very basic box fan. I mean, it's a 3rd gen. It's not really got any design pros. The motor is kind of you know. And actually, you know what? Another pro is it's rare. You don't see a lot of these K-223 3rd gens around. I certainly never seen one for sale on Craigslist or really anywhere. I've seen them online before, and I never really cared about them. So it's like, it's just a P223. But now I found one, and it's kind of weird. Never seen one like this. And a lot of the ones I did see online had the Samsung motor. So, I don't know. It's kind of a weird one. So yeah, that's like, what, 3 pros. Cons. The cons are actually, no, you know what? Another pro is that this motor tends to run fast. It's still running at 1.7 amp average. That's nice, because that means the motor is healthy. So that is a pro. 4 pros. Now to the cons. What's so bad about this fan? Well, the motor in this fan is pretty good, but in generally these Macmillan 3rd gen motors are not that great. I have 2 other 3rd gens, this one and my other P223 3rd gen, and both of those motors have problems with oil. Now, I did not split this motor apart yet. I guarantee you if I did split this motor apart, it'd have more oil problems. I don't know why. They're just one way meant to be. I have nothing but problems with these motors as far as oil goes, and it's not fun. So maybe this one's finally good, and I'm probably not going to ever split it apart because I don't need to. It wasn't dirty. But, yeah. So that's a con. I have a lot of problems with oil and with these motors, so yeah. Another con is the condition isn't great, like, at all. And I didn't really think about condition, but the Edison's like in mint condition. But like this, like the grill is like split in half from here all the way to the center, and then it stops somewhere around here, and then that's why there's a twisty tie holding the grill together, so it doesn't split all the way down. There's slats missing, and there's a giant dent in the cabinet. It's a dent upwards. I don't know how someone managed to do that. You can see it's like an arc up. It's hard to see, but it's there. Not sure how that even happened, and it's missing half the screws. Like, these are not the original screws right here. So, yeah. Condition, I mean, it doesn't look bad, but it's just very interesting. Like I said, it's hard to do this fan. I have to really, usually when I do pros and cons before like the videos, I usually write them down. But since it's midnight and I just want to get the video done, I'm not going to write them. So, nothing really else to say. That's just pros and cons. I don't want to make this video too long. Let's run them on low. Starting off with the K-223 3rd gen. Reason why I run them on low so you can see noise level. I'm not really looking for power. I'm looking for noise level. Because a lot of people use these fans on low anyway, and a lot of people are looking for the quieter fan. That's a big advertisement thing. If your fan's quieter, it's better or whatever. That's why almost all these fans, if you look at their original boxes, they say, "Oh, quiet," or "Whisper quiet." You know, a quiet box fan, especially back in the day and even today, has always been a good thing to advertise. So that's why in versus videos I test them on low. It seems pretty quiet. I'd say that's about as loud as maybe that other K-223 in the back, the 2nd gen. Maybe a little bit quieter. No, I guarantee you $300 that fan's gonna be quieter than this fan, and you'll see why in a second. You ready? want to look at the spin down. It's got a very nice spin down, which that actually makes me happy because my two other 3rd gens have a terrible 4-second spin down. But this one is more than that, so I'm proud of it. And speaking of 3rd gens, that's not actually the, hold on. There. Speaking of 3rd gens, it's actually not this fan's fault. It has oil problems. Somehow, the oil wicks in there are pretty much missing, so I had to replace them. So maybe this fan will make a comeback on oil, but it's not really its fault, but I'm just saying. Alright, let's run this fan on low. You'll see why it's really loud in a second. Here's low. It's a lot louder right off the bat. Just noise and air. But the airflow is insane. I mean, this is like high on this fan. Yeah, a lot more airflow out of the Edison. And sleeping with this fan when it's not rattling is very, very nice. You can see that off-balancedness. See how it kind of... It's hard to say. When it was speeding up, you could see it. And these 60 frames a second is nice. So, yeah. So, let me just give you a little retrospect real quick. This fan is from 1983 to 1984, around about-ish. This fan is from 1988. These fans are like around 4 to 5 years in difference. Just that. 4 to 5. It's not like this fan's from the 90s and this fan's from the 60s. No. These fans are both from the mid-80s. Only 4 to 5 years apart. That's it. Think about that. So at some point, you could have easily bought this fan, and then not much longer, you could have bought this fan. So, just remember that. So, here's the final question. Which fan is better? As always, I have my personal opinion, but the real answer is up to you. Which fan would you choose? Personally, for me, I'd have to choose the Edison. Why? Because the airflow doesn't matter to me, but noise does. I am a person where I like louder fans, because if I gotta sleep with something, louder is the better, because it drowns out more noise. The Edison tends to be loud, but not only loud, it's kind of, I don't know if I want to say consistent with the noise level. This fan's a lot more consistent with noise. I feel like this fan's got a little more wobble in the sound, if you know what I mean. That's more like, you know what I'm saying, when it runs. Whereas this fan's more like a, it's very smooth, constant. But, this fan is very relaxing sounding. You know, it is loud, but it's got that nice vintage fan. I wouldn't say, you know, it's got that kind of mid consistency with the sound. It's just kind of got that when it runs. And to me, that's one of the best things about sleeping with a vintage fan, because it's that noise, you know. And yeah. So personally, I would have to choose the Edison, because when I really use these fans, I'm probably sleeping. That's the biggest use I have for these things. And the Edison would do a lot more better job because it's just louder, but it's also got that nice iconic sound, you know. Yeah, but however, if I had to run a fan during the day, it'd probably be this fan. Or if it was, like, very cold winter, maybe I'd run this fan because it blows less air. But, yeah. So like I said, personally I would choose the Edison, but it's really up to you. I feel like personally, I keep saying personally, but I feel like most people would choose this fan because it just looks, a lot of people would be like, oh, well, that fan looks wacky. You know, a lot of people would be like, oh, that fan's out there. Because I could see that. You know, I could see someone saying that fan looks weird because why are the blades black? And why is the fan in that weird wooden thing color? You know what I mean? You know, I feel like a lot of people would choose this just because it looks more like, you know, traditional, like fan, you know. It's got the you know, bright mundane colors. Or is this fan's a little more out there with the black blades, the smokiness, and it's got the tan front grille with the brown back grille, along with the wood grain cabinet, and then the black, you know, it's just the color scheme. It's very nice. It's like almost like a cabin, foresty feeling, you know what I mean? Got that kind of vibe. And then, you know, so I feel like a lot of people say, oh, that's ugly, you know, I don't like that, and they would choose this fan just because it looks, you know, traditional. And I feel like a lot of people would also say, well, this fan's quieter, and that's what I'm going for. Because, like I said, a quiet fan is very popular. So it's a weird one. I don't want to say it's a tie, but, you know, they both have their fair share of reasons. I feel like a lot of people like me would think the Edison is cool, and it looks more unique, you know, or the noise level comes in handy to have a louder fan, but it's still on low. You know, or this fan that looks traditional, but it's quieter and a little bit smaller for those, you know, window uses. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys in the next one.